Mixtapes.
The classic mixtapes.
Doing the mixtape thing.
Let me drop a mixtape.
Oh, mixtape.
The mixtapes.
This is the Art Behind the Tape podcast. Hosted by
This DJ.
DJ Mars and Bril Ndiaye, covering the spectrum of the mixtape culture.
Yo, what's up, party people? It's the DJ Mars. I'm sitting right next to my partner in the crime.
Bril Ndiaye right here.
Yeah.
And we are back for the Art Behind the Tape podcast, episode 2.
Episode dos.
Yes. We're back when we're talking about the greatest mixtapes of all time.
Yeah. So listen, before we even start the list,
Right.
Let me just put this out there. There are going to be some people mad.
Right.
There's going to be some people mad. So we're not discounting any tape that did not make the list. This is just my opinion, Bril's opinion.
Right.
The greatest mixtapes of all time. It's almost like a meeting of the minds, a battle of the bands, my list versus his list.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
So don't get mad.
Don't get mad. Because even though certain mixtape DJ's name may not have made the list, this particular list doesn't mean he's not a great mixtape DJ.
Exactly.
We're just talking about the greatest mixtapes of all times based on our opinion. You know what I mean? My experience and his experience.
Right.
So,
Let me ask you a question real quick before we get started.
What up?
What makes a great mixtape for you?
oh man. It's for me, it's what it did for the culture at the time that it dropped.
Okay.
The flavor of the DJ, the music in its relevance to the time period, and how it stood the test of time.
Yes, that's a good one right there.
You know what I mean? So without further ado, let's get into it. But before I get into it, I'm gonna start, bro. I'm gonna take over from the top. You know, age before beauty and whatnot.
That's right.
We're here because we wrote a book, The Art Behind the Tape.
Right.
You know what I mean? Myself, Bril, a couple of our partners, Ty, Maurice, Garland. They put in a lot of work in this. So the whole podcast series is to celebrate the 50 years of hip hop, number one, because we wouldn't be here without that. And then to celebrate the book, which they can get online. Tell them the name of the website.
ArtBehindTheTape.com.
Yeah. So that's why we're here, man. So get into it. The greatest mixtapes of all time. This is no secret. Bril, I've been talking about this tape as long as you've been.
I already know it's coming.
Let's just get this one out the way off top. Kid Capri's Old School Part 2.
Yes.
Old School Part 2 is, to me, I'm going to argue it because I got 2 of the top period ever made recorded on my list. Kid Capri's Old School Part 2 is the greatest mixtape of all time because of what it did for DJ culture, right? So let's say you were a young DJ and you didn't know how to put a set together. Kid Capri's Old School Part 2 taught you how to DJ, right? It taught you, the tape taught you how to rock the mic. It taught you how to transition using a little segues in between record A to record B. It taught you how to put together a proper old school set. A lot of cats were young at the time. Let's say, I'm trying to remember when that tape came out.
91,
92. So a lot of DJs, they weren't going to the clubs. If anything, they were going to backyard parties. This taught you how to rock the old school set in. And back then, we were DJing in sets. You had your new music set, your R&B set down here in Atlanta. You had your reggae set. You had your Miami bass set, your ATL set. And then that was your old school set. So if you had no idea of how to DJ,
Right.
that tape taught you how to DJ. It taught you the swag that you should have on the mic. It taught you how to rock the mic. It taught you how to cut. It actually taught you how to recover from a cut that you messed up on. The tape wasn't perfect in terms of it being flawless, but it was perfect in terms of what it taught you. There was time. I mean, he said it on the tape. Yo, Kid Capri mistake. But then he caught it, and then it taught you how to move. A lot of DJs learned from, myself included. That's the era that was like higher education to me. So. You knew I was going to put that.
I knew it was coming.
So we had to get that one in and out of there, in and out of.
And real quick, no other DJ is perfect for that than Kid Capri because he's a legend in the game.
Period.
He's one of the godfathers of the mixtape game. So definitely shout out to Kid Capri for that.
Yeah, man. So when we talking greatest mixtapes of all time, I have to start out with that.
Right.
it leads to another question we'll ask later, but I had to start out with that. So what you got, man?
Okay, I got Jay-Z S. Carter Collection mixtape. Now, the reason why I put that on the list is because, one, Jay-Z didn't do mixtapes like that. So when he dropped the shoe, he did the collaboration with Reebok with him and 50 Cent, the S. Carter Collection, he dropped a mixtape with it. And it was freestyles from Jay-Z.
That you don't get.
You don't get. You got a few back in the 90s from Clue and a couple other people he did a couple of mixtapes for, a couple of freestyles for. But for the most part, he definitely didn't do mixtapes in the 90s. So this was like a fresh breath air for Jay-Z fans.
Was that the one with he was rhyming over
Flavor in Your Ear?
Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Young Black and Gifted. Yeah. So yeah. Bump Bump Bump. He did the B2K joint. He took a couple, new recent records at the time, but then at the same time he took a bunch of classic records too. I'm trying to think what else was on there. It was a lot.
Him over to Joe Budden's Pump It Up. Was that it?
Pump It Up.
That was that joint.
Yeah, he dissed Joe Budden's on his own beat, which was crazy.
Give me that beat, fool.
It's a full-time Jack move. I'm trying to think what else was on there, but that was a classic mixtape right there because it was like 19 tracks of Jay-Z. He had a couple old school singles on there, In My Lifetime Volume 2, In My Lifetime Volume Part 1. But at the same time, I think that was a classic mixtape because Jay-Z didn't put a mixtape out like that in the 90s or the 2000s. So this was the first official Jay-Z mixtape like that. So
yeah. So I know we talked about it being a branded project. I wonder how much the brand paid for that.
Right.
I wonder how much they paid for that. A lot of money.
A lot of money, yeah.
A lot of money. So my next tape, I would say it would be Ron G Mixes 8. I believe it's Mixes 8. And so Ron G had this Mixes series that was just crazy, right? That's what he would call his blend tapes. Mixes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. But this one, it started out like it sounded like it was a produced track that he put together in the lab. And the very first joint off the top was Patrice Rushen, Putting a Rush on Me. So
classic.
Like the beat rocks and then Ron G's voice, the world's youngest. The world's youngest. And the beat is rocking, and he's talking, and his voice has so much flavor in it. Like it just added what the record was missing. His voice and his tone and his energy, it was something crazy, right? So you put that out. First song is like I said, is a Stephanie Mills. Capri already did what he had to do with something in the way you make me feel.
Right.
But this one, you put in a rush on me. And then like the second blend, it was his reggae. I can't remember which reggae artist was, but he blended it. The second track was, he took the instrumental, Eric B. for President, and put this reggae joint on it. And that was probably around the time, remember in the 90s, reggae artists was singing over hip hop beats. So it was around then, it was just flavor. Like Ron G, he wasn't the first blend DJ, and actually later on I'm gonna talk about a tape that I have on the list. He wasn't the first blend DJ. He just perfected it. Right. You know what I mean? So anybody, if you're listening, watching, and you have some Ron G tapes, y'all know what those mixes series.
Blend King is crazy.
Crazy. So you can pick 1 through 10, Ron G mixes, whatever. But that one in particular, because it started the world's youngest, the world's youngest, and then he's rocking the whole way through. So mixes, any one of those numbers you could pick them, but that's the one I picked.
Okay, I like that. All right, my next mixtape is one of my favorite. Well, actually, was the first mixtape I ever bought. The actual from the street mixtape I bought here in Atlanta. Dipset, K-Slay, Diplomats Volume 1.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Now, despite the argument, people say 50 Cent was the first person to drop, mixtapes with just all one artist. I think Dipset did it before him. Dipset did it a couple months before him. But that mixtape right there put Cameron on a whole nother level. It reintroduced the world of Cameron because Cameron was signed to Epic Records. He had 2 albums at the time, Confessions of Fire, Sports, Drugs, and Entertainment. But at the time, this reintroduced the world of Cameron. He was just put out, paid in full. The buzz behind the movie was just coming out, so people knew that he was going to be in the movie. And on top of that, He had the Dipset movement coming behind him with Jim Jones, Joel Santana.
Crazy.
He had K-Slade with the cosign, and then he was just hiding the streets at the time. That mixtape right there was crazy. I mean, Freestyles was crazy. He took a lot of beats. I remember he took Ja Rule's Pain, Dial M for Murder, killed that, did the remix for that. He had Old Boy on there. I think Old Boy was a sample, a single on there. Just a crazy mixtape. Introduced the world of Joel Santana, Jim Jones, Freaky Zeke, the whole Dipset fam. So I think that mixtape right there was epic right there when it comes to the culture.
Yeah, their movement, like, they had Harlem, like, it's, you know how New York is. New York is like a
Melting pot of everything.
Everything. But the way that Harlem had his back, like, them Berg, like, their movement was just sick, and it was all fueled by those tapes.
Right.
So I definitely agree with you. So we're talking about mixtapes, greatest mixtapes of all time. DJ Mars, my partner Bril right here, the Art Behind the Tape crew. Number 3 for me, and this is, we're not going in chronological. I mean, we're not going in order in terms of the best. We're just naming our best.
Right.
My number 3 is my man Doo-Wop's 95 Live.
All right,
that's a cheat code.
That's a cheat code. That's on my list too as well. So it's we can both talk about it right now.
Yeah. Like, yo, man, like, WAP, one of the most creative mixtape DJs
ever.
Period. Period. Like, he took. So, like, Capri was obviously the party king, and what WAP did was he took the street side of New York,
right,
and put it on a tape. But the production value behind it, from the Bounce Squad, Snag Push, Unique Joints, to
freestyles.
The freestyles was crazy. The intros was crazy. Like I want to ask him, like, yo, how much did you make off that tape? I remember talking to him about it. He was like, yo, I went and bought, I think it was like a Lexus, something like that. He's like, I went and bought it cash. And I know it's 2022. Everybody's driving a $200,000 car, whatever. Right. He was back then to be able to sustain a lifestyle and purchase your lifestyle off of, we're talking one tape. I remember Alex AG Entertainment booked Doo-Wop down here in support of the 95 Live tour. Like, wow. I know he was moving all over the country. Right. So I had a chance to rock with WAP back then based off of that tape. Now, WAP is another one. You could literally, run your finger down a dial and pick any tape out of his reservoir. But that 95 Live, it was at the time the best produced mixtape, period, because he produced it.
Yeah,
from freestyles, and then his
bars.
His bars.
He was dope.
He was
dope.
Yeah, man. Like, so you already know, me and Bro, we feel the same on that.
We agree with this one.
Yeah. So no argument there. Doo-Wop's 95 Live. I don't care. Kiss says, top 5 dead or alive. That's top 5 mixtape dead or alive. Period.
Absolutely.
Period.
All right. Now we're going back to my tapes now. Let's go with Fabulous Soul Tape Part 2. The production on there, the bars on there was amazing. The only thing I hate that Fabulous didn't do on there was he didn't have a DJ on there. That's the only thing I wish he had on there. But at the same time, Fabulous put together a well put together project. Freestyles, he had singles, he had videos for it too as well. So I mean, it was just a perfect mixtape. But I wish he just had a DJ on there to show love to the DJs like he always does.
I'm a DJ, so I definitely get your point.
Right.
That's another one of those tapes where you could look at anyone. It was 3 of them, right?
It was 3.
Tape 1, 2, 3. You could look at any one of those tapes and pick anyone, and they could legitimately live on this list.
Right.
Like on Soul Tape 3, he had joints that was crazy to me. Right. I believe Hope came off of that. Yeah. The one with him and Jadakiss. Cuffin' Season came off of that one. So, man, listen, man, I ain't even mad at that.
Yeah. Fabulous has always put out classic freestyles, classic mixtapes. He did the one with Drama, There's No Competition, the series with them. But that Soul Tape mixtape, I mean, it was just beautiful how he put the album together. I mean, the album mixtape together, but it felt like an album, though.
So Fab, we saluting to you. Salute to Clue, because Clue was the one who introduced Fab to us and
Definitely.
whatnot. So number 4, my number 4 on my list, and this one really is something special, especially because the DJ is no longer here right now. My man DJ Spin Bad, Rock the Casbah. So I'm gonna keep this all the way real. The biggest fan of that tape that I know is DJ Sense. Sense used to talk about that tape all the time. Now, I was up on it, but Sense was up on it.
Right.
So one day Sense like, yo, Mars, you got to listen to this tape. Yo, this dude got busy. Like, so we all know the classic 80s movies and whatnot. So he took songs and movie clips from the 80s and immersed them into this tape and blended it together perfectly. So this is one of those, do your homework. Like, so the DJs out there who want to learn how to put an 80s set together, go listen to Spin Bad's Rock the Casbah. 95, it was sick. Ooh. This tape was incredible. Perfectly produced. This is when DJs went from just making a mixtape in their house, in the bedroom, to records. No, you can tell he put some time in the studio with this one.
Right.
He put some time. So for me, number 4, DJ Spin Bad, Rock the Casbah.
Okay. Now I'm gonna take it to 2003. G-Unit 50 Cent, Automatic Gunfire. This is the third mixtape right before his album drop, Get Rich or Die Trying. At this time, 50 Cent was on fire. I mean, the buzz behind 50 Cent, you can feel the energy. I mean, I was living in Atlanta at the time, and the buzz, the energy, you could feel all the way from New York. That's how big he was, that mixtape was, Automatic Gunfire. He had Wankster on it, he had freestyles from Lloyd Banks, they introduced the world of Young Buck on there. I think Tony Yayo, I think, just got locked up or was just getting ready to get locked up. But at the same time, I think just the buzz and energy behind it was amazing. 50 Cent, I mean, like we talk about timing when it comes to mixtape too. That timing for that mixtape and the timing for 50 Cent was perfect. And I mean, that mixtape right there, DJ Hookid, salute to him as well for putting that together. It was amazing. Automatic Gunfire was a classic mixtape. Listen, man, if you don't know mixtapes, this is what the Art Behind the Tape is about. Go get the book at artbehindtape.com, first of all. But this is what it's all about. So Bril's list is crazy. I can't argue it. He got Jay-Z, he got Dipset, he got Fabulous, and then he got the G-Unit situation. So it seems like your tapes are more artist driven, right? A little bit, yeah.
I ain't mad at that. So when we talk about artist driven, my next tape of the greatest mixtapes of all time is J Period. I like J Period as a person.
Ooh, yeah.
First of all,
cool guy,
super cool cat. The Best of Nas.
Yeah, you keep stealing my mixtapes, man. This is one of my favorite mixtapes of all time.
Yo, listen, B. So I think I was there. I think I introduced J Period to Khalees, and then from that introduction, Khalees to Nas to J Period. It was at Mix Show Power Summit. I believe we were in Puerto Rico. I believe that's your trajectory. Jay, if I got the science wrong, please correct me. Let me know. That tape, it made me a bigger fan of Nas.
Yes.
Right? So you know in hip hop, like you compare, you compete, you compare and compete. You know the classic line, who's the best MC, Biggie, Jay-Z, and Nas?
Right.
That tape made me a Nas fan for life. Not to say that it wasn't before,
right,
but it was that was the one that made me say I would rather listen to Nas than Hov. That the way J Period put them joints together.
Yes, the best of being in the best of having the audio Nas talking about his career and then blending the mixtape, blending the audio, blending the songs together. Amazing,
crazy. Like he's another one. Like you got DJs who make tapes. Now we're getting into DJs who produce tapes. Produce tapes. And so it's DJs like J Period, it's DJs like Green Lantern, DJ Juice. Like they produce tapes. They don't just make them. So this point is a conversation for later on.
Right.
But now we're talking about the evolution of mixtape making.
Right.
So J Period, Best of Nas, on my list.
Yes, definitely on my list because another reason why too is because it's a combination of mixtape culture. It's the blends, it's the best of, and it's the freestyles on top of that. So I mean, Gotta love that. Big shout out to J. Period.
Go find that tape, y'all. Go find that tape. So what you got?
Next one I got for me, Drake So Far Gone. What it did for the culture that time. When we talk about timing.
Yo, I gotta give you that one, B. I ain't gonna lie. I didn't mean to cut you off. I didn't even think about that one.
Drake So Far Gone was just a game changer. I mean, what he did, it was a mix of R&B and hip hop. It was a mix of freestyles and exclusive music. And then had a single So Far Gone on there. Not So Far Gone, but Best I Ever Had on there. Amazing. Like the way he put it together, even though it didn't have a DJ on there, I wish he had a DJ on there, but at the same time, I think that mixtape was classic because it way did for that era of the artists at the time. It made them change their whole way they put out mixtapes at the time.
Not mad at that. I mean, I definitely agree. I remember coming back off tour, and I was out of the Atlanta club loop for a little bit, and I came back, and the Best I Ever Had was, when I say it was ringing off, like it. So the girls who, I remember the club I used to play. I don't remember the name, but I remember the night. It's a Thursday night, and that was the first time girls ever approached the booth to ask for, to me, it probably happened to other DJs. That was the first time girls approached the booth to ask for records that were coming from mixtapes.
Right.
Like, and I was like, yo, y'all know about that? Like, of course, I knew that. I just hadn't been in the Atlanta club scene for a while. I was touring, so I hadn't been, in the space to experience that. So when girls are coming to the booth to say, yo, could you play that new Bang 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 off of Bang Bang, you knew, I knew he was going out of, he was out of here.
Plus he had the co-sign for Lil Wayne on top of that. I mean, at the time he was just on fire. And I mean, that just tape took him over the top.
Yeah. Wow. So I'm cheating again.
Okay.
With my next mixtape offering. And this dude, man, Clark Atlanta. This dude,
Clark Atlanta.
Drama. You gotta do more than salute him. Because what he did for mixtape culture in the South, like,
changed the game.
Immeasurable. So the cheat code for my next pick is Trap or Die.
Yes.
Right? So this tape did more for mixtape culture in the South than any other mixtape. I'm not saying that there wasn't other DJs that made tapes in the South. Clearly there was. But this tape did more because he took like a New York aesthetic, put it on a super dope rapper from the South with a whole bunch of money behind it.
Right.
Like,
yes.
You know what I'm saying? We saw it. Like we saw it. Mm-hmm. A whole bunch of money behind it. It wasn't just the money. The music was ridiculous.
Yo.
Like, ridiculous.
I remember going to the club and hearing the mixtape drama in the club, like track for track. I remember going to the clubs and hearing, I'm like, yo, really? The DJ doesn't even care about the other DJ drama being on there?
You couldn't care. Like, what could you say?
Right.
Like, you be playing yourself if you
didn't play.
Yeah,
if you didn't
like,
play
what was you gonna not? And then the title song, Trap or Die, like the title song, Jeezy shouting out all the DJs. This was I can't say that the beginning of his career, because he had Getting Money Over Here with Bun B. He had
Streets
records
was watching mixtape before that,
But when this dude Jeezy showed you he was tapped in with everybody.
Right.
He's tapped in. I got some affiliates in Legion of Doom.
I got super friends in
I got super friends in Legion of Doom. Like, what?
Right.
Yo, I was walking down the street, like in some random part of the I could have been in Johns Creek somewhere. I looked on the ground and I saw a Trap or Die album cover. Johns Creek is a super bougie,
north of the city.
Dog, I saw the joint laying on the ground. I was like, yo, son is on fire.
He said affiliates. He said, I'm an affiliate. I know Hitman. He knows. He shout out all the DJs in Atlanta. And the thing about that mixtape was, I heard somebody describe it like this recently: how Dr. Dre had the Chronic and put you in Los Angeles at the time, in LA. This put you in ATL at that time. The club scene, the whole vibe of Atlanta. That mixtape right there was a full soundtrack to that.
Like, again, so conversation for later, greatest mixtapes of all time. That tape, if Drama did no other tape, and he did a gazillion other ones, if he did no other tape, that tape will put him in a conversation of greatest mixtape DJs of all time. We're going to leave that right there because we got something special for that. So, all right, man. You know what? Drama, Trap or Die, Mars List. I stole it from him. Not really, but really.
It's all
but
good.
not really.
Next one for me, DJ Clue, Heavy Components 2.
Wow.
Now, track for track, that was a classic mixtape. I mean, he had Superwoman, Fabulous Lil Mo on there. Mm-hmm. He had freestyles from the Locks. He had Jay-Z tracks. I mean, just a crazy mixtape. It was sponsored by Academics. That's how big it was.
Crazy. I remember that. I remember that tape. That was a yellow.
It was orange and black.
Yeah.
And his face on the cover. Sponsored by Academics. So that's how big that tape was. Crazy mixtape. Ty Murder was on there. I'm trying to think. Ja Rule was on there. Mm-hmm. It was just a crazy mixtape at the time. It put Clue in at a whole nother level when it comes to mixtapes. I mean, he had already put mixtapes out before then. Yeah. But at the same time, that mixtape just platformed. It was the soundtrack to the summer. I remember coming to Clark, Atlanta at the time. I remember everybody from New York saying, yo, this mixtape right here was the soundtrack to their summer because of how big it was in New York and how big it spread across the country. Wow. So big shout out to DJ Clue. Big shout out to Fabulous.
Yeah, I mean, again, Clue is one of those dudes that, let's say he has 50 tapes. We know he got more than 50 tapes. Right. You could take any one of those 50 tapes, throw them against the wall, and it could be in that category of the greatest mixtapes of all time.
Right.
That's 1,000%.
Right. So big shout out to DJ Clue.
Yeah, man. So coming up next is
I know this one's coming. I know.
Yeah, we talk too much, homeboy. We talk too much.
Right, it's all good though.
So on my greatest mixtapes of all time list is Kid Capri's 52 Beats. Right? Because at the time, Kid Capri was just known for party rocking, right? Mm-hmm. Not just, let me take that word back. He was known for party rocking, obviously mixtapes. This tape showed you that he can get busy on a whole nother level and capture attention. So it's 52 beats. He's taking break beats and he's cutting them up. He is getting busy. It sounds like what New York probably sounded like in the Park Jam era. I'm not a New Yorker, so I wasn't there. Right. So I can only guesstimate what I feel or what I think that felt like at the time. So 52 beats, take the ultimate breaks and beat collection. Shout out to Breakbeat Lou. And he's getting busy. Everything from James Brown to Sylvester to Bob James. He's just getting busy. Grover Washington Jr.
Wow.
Like he's just getting busy. Yeah.
And the crazy thing is you hyped this up so much, I went back and listened to it. This is a crazy mixtape. I went back and listened to it. Mixtape. It's a crazy mixtape. The way he did it, the break beats, crazy.
Nuts. So if you're a younger hip hop head and you're listening to what we're saying, go back. You go to YouTube, you can find that tape on YouTube, and you're gonna hear records like, damn, I didn't know that was an original joint. Like that. I didn't know so and so sampled that. Trust me, Google is your best friend, man. Google's your best friend.
Google and YouTube.
Your For best real. Friend. Especially when we're talking about these tapes. The art behind the tape too is a Bible in a sense as well. So you get the book, artbehindtape.com. You can order it. Me and Bril will send it out. But Kid Capri, 52 beats, amazing.
Yes, definitely. Big shout out to Kid Capri. I mean, he definitely changed the game when it comes to party rocking. But that mixtape right there definitely shows how he can take a New York style and just put it on a mixtape and just let it flow.
Yeah.
So the next one for me, I'm gonna go with Jadakiss, DJ Green Lantern, The Champ Is Here. Now, when I say Jadakiss put his foot in his mixtape and then Green Lantern put the production behind it, made a beautiful album. I keep saying album, but it's a mixtape. It feels like an album though. But man, the freestyle he did off of Dipset versus
it came from there.
Came from there. People don't know that though, but it came from there.
It came from there. Like
right. And the crazy thing is, it got Green Lantern in a little trouble because I think at the time he was DJing for Eminem and he put that mixtape out in G Unit and D-Block was beefing at the time, so it kind of like put him in a difficult position. But at the same time, that mixtape was crazy. Jadakiss top 5 dead or alive. You can always say that, but he put his foot down and let people know that he's top 5 dead or alive with that right there.
Like so all of us watch Versus, right? In particular, even though I did a Versus with Monica and Brandy, that was my favorite one.
Yes.
The Lox versus Dipset, right? When Kiss was setting that up and Technician, they were setting it up. They was about to go into it. I was listening to the crowd. Go back and watch that. You can hear the crowd say every word. You can hear the crowd say. I mean, it's New York, so that they know. Like, yo, you can over who shot you. Like, what? Kiss is already, like you said, top 5 dead or alive. But then you put Kiss in a space where he is allowed to spaz out. And on them mixtapes, them Green Lantern mixtapes, so you got the best MC, top 5. And then you got arguably one of the best producing mixtapes ever.
Right.
Green Lantern. Ever.
Shout out to Green Lantern. He's a beast with it.
Ever.
Yes. This was a prelude to his album, Jadakiss' album, Kiss of Death, that came out on Interscope. But to me, this mixtape was better than the album.
Yeah.
And I love the album because the album had Y on there. It had a lot of great records on there. But at the same time, this mixtape, I still listen to it to this day.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt. I mean, everybody listened to it, especially if you listen to the verses.
Right.
Where, you know what I'm saying? Where
freestyle.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. That's a good one. Like, that's one of those ones where if you don't know mixtapes, Google DJ Green Lantern. Google Jadakiss, The Champ Is Here. The artwork was sick. We're going to get into some artwork later.
Right.
The artwork was sick. The tape was incredible. You just heard the man say it was better than dude's album. And Kiss got albums.
He got albums.
Like, period. Like, come on, man. I give you that one.
So who we got next?
Next, these is my Spanish Harlem homeboys. Jibo the Pro. Double R. Yo, listen. Their tapes was so crazy. So on the production side of things, they were like, I feel like a step above Ron G, right? Like, meaning not a step like they were. I'm not putting Ron G down. No, that's not what I mean. I mean, like they took it to another level, a whole nother level. So one of my favorite tapes by Jibo the Pro and DJ Ray Double R, it was an old school tape. So first side of the tape, I remember got it from Tape Kings. It was like a teal green with black writing. Remember back they had the track list. So side A was all the hip hop joints, old school hip hop joints. Big Daddy Kane, Dougie Fresh,
KRS-One, stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly, all of that. And then side two was the R&B, the classic R&B joints. And this is the first time I heard this particular DJ's voice, right? On a tape. It was this blend that was going. It was For the Lover in You by Shalimar, and they had Do to James by Super Lover C and Casanova Rudd under it. Crazy, right? So that little
vibe
got you going, and then the transition out of it was Janet Jackson. Oh damn! Now I'm acting like I can't remember. Let's Wait a While by Janet Jackson. You know how that record starts at doom, 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 doom. And then she starts to sing. So imagine you hear For the Love of You by Shalimar, and then you hear that Janet Jackson. You're like where are they going with
right.
this? And then so you hear it, and then under that you hear the intro to Before I Let Go. That now they slowed it down. They slowed the Before I Let Go down to meet the Janet Jackson, but it was perfect. So it was so perfect. This is just me. This is my 2 cents. It sounded like I wanted to hear a remix. Like I wanted that blend to be a remix because I wanted to be able to play it in the club. So then they went from there to make the Music With Your Mouth Biz instrumental, Janet Jackson on top. So in the DJ space, we have the ability to create stems on our on our Serato, right? And that's, you could pull the drums out, you could pull the horns out, you could create an acapella and whatnot. These guys were doing that level of mixtape engineering in the I believe this was like a 93 tape.
93, 92, somewhere around there.
Yep. They were doing that then. And yes, that's the one.
Right.
Jibo the Pro, old school hip hop and R&B side. Hey, listen, Tape Masters, that's what it was. New York City Tape Masters. Remember, you used to get the tapes, call the number 212-779-45. Hold on, pull it down, Logan. Yeah, 212-779-4574. Somebody out there watching this is gonna be like, yo, I remember I used to call that number all the time. That tape,
right?
But noodles. He was already they were already winning with the hip hop on side A, and then when you go to side B, and then that blend right there. I don't care what else was on the tape. That blend was the joint right there. Like, that's one of those, you knew it's something in your head say, yo, if I can't do it like they're doing it, I don't need to be doing it.
Right.
Like, that tape made me say, there's other mixtape DJs I just can't listen to because I gotta listen to this. So shout out to Jibo, shout out to DJ Ray, shout out to my man Ted Smooth. The way Ted Smooth's voice was flowing, little shout outs on that particular part of the tape, crazy.
They basically made remixes.
Yeah, they definitely made remixes. And then what was dope about them is two Puerto Rican cats from Harlem, like, dope. So when people be arguing, this is a goofy argument. They be like, yo, Puerto Ricans didn't really have nothing to do with the hip hop. Shut up. Like, shut up.
Right, come on. We got Tony Touch, we got Jibo the Pro, Double R.
Yeah.
I mean, you got multiple Puerto Ricans playing
You got
down.
Ted Smooth. Come on, you got Chubby Chub. Like, man, shut up, man. Breakbeat Lou. Come on, man. Like, clowns out here tripping. So, Jibo the Pro.
Double R. Salute to them.
Yeah, salute to them. Salute to them. Who you got, man?
All right, I'm going to take it back a little bit earlier. 50 Cent, G Unit, 50 Cent is the future. Now, I said Automatic Gunfire before because that was the mixtape that exposed him to the world, because at the time he had the buzz beyond Eminem. He had Dr. Dre just signed. He had, the buzz of that right there. But this was the first mixtape he put out after being shot and just took New York on fire. Mm-hmm. I remember shout out to my man Thomas Steele from Queens. His right-hand man, Halim, used to work with G Unit.
Uh-huh.
He had the poster on his wall my freshman year, and he told me, he's like, yo, it's 50 Cent. He's going to be the next biggest thing in hip-hop. This was the freshman year, 2001. By the time we came back that summer,
that's what it was.
That's what it was. I remember he had the poster on his wall. I'm like, yo, that's 50 Cent, the guy who just got shot, How to Rob. Because I remember hearing How to Rob in L.A., and that was a big record in L.A., but at the same time, he got shot. He got dropped from Columbia, so he kind of like disappeared a little bit. He said, yo, this mixtape right here is going to put 50 Cent on a whole other level. It was buzzing in New York at the time. 50 Cent is the future. He just reintroduced Lloyd Banks, Tony Ayo. I mean, it was just a crazy mixtape. The cover was him on the black and blue cover with the guns on the cover. That was the mixtape right there that put 50 Cent on the New York map again.
He wasn't lying. 50 Cent is the future.
Yo, when I say he had the poster on his wall, early 2002, he's like, yo, 50 Cent, by the time we come back from summer break, 50 Cent's going to be the man across the country. He wasn't lying. My man Thomas, big shout out to that.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, that Fifth's movement was sick. That's when he would do the parody joints, like he would take a song and then remix it, sort of, but turn it into the 50 Cent version. Right. So it showed you how witty he was, how creative he was.
Right.
Showed you he wasn't scared to step out.
He wasn't scared at all. He wasn't scared. After being shot 9 times, he wasn't scared. He was going, and being dropped from Columbia, he was like, yo, I don't care about nothing.
Yeah, I don't care about none of that.
Right.
Yeah, that was a good era. So I mean, Who Kid got a top 5 mixtape DJs, period.
Right.
Who Kid. So moving along, so we're right now we're in New York. We're gonna go back to the ATL real quick. DJ Jelly. I remember one time I was working at Marco's Pita shop on Ponce, and Jelly walked in. I don't think I knew Jelly at the time.
Right.
This was early on in DJ Mars' career, but the world knew Jelly.
Right.
I knew who he was, but I don't think he knew who I was. Again, I was young DJ, and I wasn't making tapes like that. But Jelly walked into the Peter shop, and he's on his promo game, and he gave Marco a tape. He gave someone, Kenny Burns could have been in there. I don't remember, but I think Kenny was in there, and he gave me a tape. And on the tape, like, it was a snapshot of Ice Cube's death certificate. Remember death certificate? You got the it's like the image of the guy at the morgue, and his foot got the toe tag
on it. Yeah,
this one said 187 on it. And this was a tape that he was using to go at Smurf. So it was J Team
versus
Oomp Camp. And when he gave me the tape, like, again, I knew who he was when he walked in the door. I don't think he knew who I was personally. And I was like, yo. Then I listened to it. Jelly is another one who early on wasn't just making the basic tape.
Right.
He was making tapes with heavy production value.
Right. Mashups, kind of like mashups.
Yeah, definitely. Like, before they colonized the phrase, they was doing mashups. And Jelly, him and Smurf was going at, again, it was two different teams. It was the J Team and the Oomp Camp.
Right. MC Assault.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and the Oomp Camp came through with a different type of swag.
Right.
Like, J Team was East Side, Oomp Camp was from the West Side. Their swag was heavy.
Right. And the crazy thing about Jelly and his MC Soft, they didn't talk on their mixtape. They just let the music do the talking for them.
Turntable
kings. Yo, crazy. I remember seeing that cover. We have the cover. We actually have the cover in the book.
It's in the book.
Yeah.
It's in the book. Like again, taking it to a whole nother level. Like, artwork. Like, the artwork told the story.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you knew when you saw the cover, he was going to war. Something was happening. That was happening. That tape was crazy. It set a big, big, big sound in Atlanta. This was 93, 94-ish, around that time. So Jelly, that tape, greatest mixtapes of all time, goes on my list.
Okay. All right, cool. Now, I already had DJ Drama, Jeezy, Trapper down there because of just the way it did for the culture. So I already said that already right now. So I'm going to think about the next mixtape for me. DJ Drama, I'm going to let you go ahead. Go ahead with the next one for you.
Okay. All right. So listen, I love catalog tapes. Like, I love best of tapes.
Right.
I love creative tapes. So this one by Amerigo, I'm going to get his name right because the name isn't a big mixtape name, but this mixtape was big. Amerigo Gazaway, he made this joint. It's like a mash, like you use your word, a mashup. It's called Fela Soul. So he's De La Soul Records mixed with Fela. So this is before Afrobeat got big.
Right.
This is before. Fela is a godfather of Afrobeat. De La Soul and Fela together. Dude, listen, party people out there, Google, YouTube is your best friend. Go there right now. Amerigo Gazaway. Gazay. That's his last name. Type in Fela Soul. The tape will pop up. This tape is incredible.
And it's not fair for you because you love De La Soul. That's your favorite group of all time. Yeah, we all know that. Yeah. So that and Afrobeats together, Fela. Man, like that's one of those tapes that you say somebody was thinking. It's easy. It would have been easy to do best of De La Soul samples. That's easy. You listen to the album, you find the records, you mash them together. But to do De La Soul and Fela, sick. And the dope thing about me talking about that right now is their first album, 3 Feet High and Rising, will be available streaming starting March 3rd, which is symbolic. March, the third month, the third day in March. 3 members in a group. 3 Feet and Rising. It's dope.
Like, funny thing is, when I chose that tape, I didn't choose it based on that fact. 3 is a magic number is one of my favorite joints on that album. So all of that magic just makes sense.
Amerigo Gazaway, where's he from? You know anything about him?
It's wild. I don't know anything about him. You look at that name. He could be African. He could be South American. Dope name. even doper tape. Go get the tape.
Definitely. Okay. All right. Cool.
So I know I stole a couple tapes from you. Not really, but you get what I'm saying. So we got this huge list that me and you put together. What are some honorable mentions?
Honorable mentions. Okay. Lil Wayne Dedication, part 2 with DJ Drama. Gotta put that on there. Let's see. Ooh, so many. Oof. K-Slay, Street Sweepers with Alpo, the one Alpo hosted, which was a different one. Let me see what else. There's so many mixtapes. Give me some of yours. I got to think about that for a second. You threw me off guard with that one.
SNS. SNS has some joints. Old School Part 1 and Part 2, dope tapes. Get Your Swerve On. I believe it was Get Your Swerve On Part 2. I told S that was like one of definitely my favorite SNS tape. Get Your Swerve On. It was R&B flavor, but with SNS. SNS is another one of those dudes that get busy in the tape and get busy in a club. Some DJs were only good on the tape, right? So S was incredible on the tape and incredible in the clubs.
Yo, I'm gonna give you a story real quick for SNS. He DJ'd a Bad Boy party here, a Bad Boy Christmas party here in Atlanta one time. One of the greatest East Coast sets I've ever seen in my life. When I say he put everything down for Jay-Z, DMX, I mean he put everything together in one mix.
So we got a couple facts. On Amerigo God's Away. I pray I'm pronouncing his name right. So he's born in Nashville, Tennessee, which is dope. You know, neighboring state to Georgia. He is a son of Gary Godsway, a Brazilian jazz trumpeter. Ooh. So you see how the musicality in his father's life transferred over to his son. So he has a mindset that would make him think way out to grab Fela and then to grab De La Soul to make Fela Soul.
That's dope.
We just learned that. Our man's Ken back there put us up on game. That's crazy.
Crazy right there. Big shout out to him. Also, I got another mixtape for you. Said honorable mention. Even though he's known as Vlad TV right now, DJ Vlad, the Tupac and Biggie mixtape series he did. The mashups he did with those, amazing.
Disgustingly amazing.
Rap Phenomenon. That's what it's called.
Rap Phenomenon. Yeah. How many? I'm trying to remember how many was in that series because he did a few of them.
Yeah. But I know it was a Biggie one. It was a Tupac one. I think it was somebody else too as well. And he did a part 2 to us. But
Crazy.
Rap Phenomenon, original music, mixes, mashes, best of. I mean, it was a great mixtape right there. So
if we're another honorable mention, we talked about him before. DJ Jamad.
Afromentals.
So now we're talking perfectly produced mixtapes. Afromentals, that whole series. I mentioned it before. One time I was in LA, I was at Melrose and I was walking into a mixtape spot and Justin Timberlake had just walked out, right? Bag full of tapes and whatnot. I didn't know what he purchased until I go to the counter. And the guy at the record store, he doesn't know that I'm from Atlanta. I'm just a guy walking into a record store. And he's like, oh, yo, you know, there's this DJ Jamad. He has a series, Afromentals. Justin Timberlake just bought the whole series. Yeah, I called Jamad immediately. Like, yo, just bought your whole collection. Right. in LA, it was crazy. So what made his tapes so dope is the production. He was heavy neo-soul, heavy R&B, heavy like Dilla-esque hip hop. Right. But he produced those tapes like a mad scientist. So when we mention these tapes out there in podcast world, go to YouTube, go to Google, go to artbehindtape.com to buy the book. Right. but go to YouTube and Google to download these tapes. And support these DJs, man. So if they come into your town, go see a show and rock out with them. Tell your friends about them. I mean, they're download links, so nobody's getting any money off it. Pass it around. Let the world know that this is your favorite DJ.
Yes, spread the mixtape culture around the world. Here's another one for you right here. Mick Boogie, DJ Jazzy Jeff, Summertime Series they dropped.
That was a crazy series.
Crazy.
I
think they drop one every summer, and still to this day, I believe.
Yeah.
But that's a crazy mixtape series. You want to check that out every summer.
They do that on a rag. That was a dope series. The artwork behind it, like Mick Boogie definitely knows how to market himself. And you put yourself but right next to the Magnificent, Jazzy. Come on, man.
You talk about live DJs. We don't even talk about. We don't even top 5 dead or alive for real.
Yo, 4th of July, they drop it every year. Like, it's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So the timing, 1. Remember, we talked about the cultural relevance, 2. So any one of those tapes from that series, you could throw it up against the wall, and it could be one of the greatest mixtapes of all time. I got another honorable mention. DJ Bobby Black, Chicken Talk. I believe it's Chicken Talk 2.
Chicken Talk 2.
With Gucci Man. Bobby Black will be on the series, so I'm not even going to get into all of that.
Right.
Bobby Black, and I'm not cheating. Bobby Black, DJ Mars, Chicken Talk 2 with what you call it, Gucci Man. We're going to save that conversation for when Black
gets here. Yes, definitely.
Yeah, we're gonna save that one. So my man K-Lock, our producer, engineer, all-star K-Lock.
Ooh. Best of Q-Tip, J Period. J Period's whole collection, best of The Roots, Lauryn Hill, Nas. You just go down the list.
Kane. Like, yeah, exactly.
I forgot about that too. So yeah, we can all mention all those. What else you got for us, K-Lock?
Man, that tape. So I remember one time I ran into J Period. Could have been in New York. He could have been in Atlanta. I don't remember. He gave me like a stack of tapes. Big Daddy Kane was in there. Nas was on top. Lauryn Hill, I was good. The Abstract joint, I was good. Like those are the joints that stayed in my rotation. You know, back then, I think I was driving Range Rover, so like a 7 CD changer in there.
Oh yeah.
For like a year, J Period's tapes stayed in my truck. Stayed in the truck.
Right.
You know, I got another honorable mention. And it would very easily could have been at the top of my list. And I told him this too. DJ Self, Best Locks Family, Part 2.
Part 2.
This was to me, I'm not gonna say it was the best produced, but this was the best of Locks tape that I ever heard. Because not only was it just the Locks, it was their whole crew. It was DMX. It was Casino.
D-Block.
It was Genovese. No, this is before D-Block. This was before D-Block. This was straight up Locks. Freestyles when Puff used to take them to Hot 97 and get busy. This tape, I was already a Locks fan. Because I remember this was before I caught this on tape, not CD. I was driving a cheap Cherokee when this dropped. Played the tape until the tape popped. This was that for me. This was, you know what I'm saying? Like this was that. Like joints from Mo Money, Herb McGruff. Like he was playing joints. Like, so the Locks obviously are from Yonkers. So it was the Locks. That's why he called the Locks family, because it was the Locks and their crew from around Yonkers. Like, so if you've been a long time Locks fan, again, this is before D-Block. This is early Locks. This is
97, 98 era, right when they started popping off.
Yes. So that tape had freestyles from Mace, freestyles obviously from the Locks. Incredible. Google that, download that. DJ Self, Locks Family, Part 2. Shout out my man Genovese. So I don't know, man. We got through a lot of tapes today.
Got through a lot of tapes. So many tapes to go through. I mean, like we said before, do not get mad. It's just our top 10.
Yeah.
It's our top favorite. It's some of our favorites. Don't get mad at us.
Yeah. Don't. Next episode, well, we ain't gonna talk about the next episode. We're gonna promote that in a week or so. But to get the book, where they buying the book at?
www.theartbehindthetape.com. Excuse me, artbehindthetape.com.
Yeah, there we go, man. God bless y'all. We love y'all. It's a DJ Mars.
Bril Ndiaye.
Shout out my man K-Lock on the backside of things.
Yes, sir.
Holla, y'all. We love y'all.
Mixtapes. The classic mixtapes.
Doing the mixtape thing.
Let me drop a mixtape.
Oh, mixtape.
The mixtapes.
This is the Art Behind the Tape Podcast. Hosted by
This DJ.
DJ Mars and Bril Ndiaye, covering the spectrum of the mixtape culture.